About relationships. Law 2 delves into the complexities of trust and betrayal, particularly in the context of power. Greene cautions against placing too much trust in friends, arguing that they can easily become envious or complacent. And he even suggests that enemies in certain circumstances can be more reliable.
It's a harsh truth, but one that's often borne out in history. Think of all the times close.
Welcome to Witter. Who Has Time to Read? The podcast that brings deep dives for busy minds. Listen to AI hosts Jane and Dane and get ready to unpack the world's most captivating books in just a fraction of the time. Whether commuting, working out, or just squeezing in a quick break, we deliver key insights, thought-provoking themes, and takeaways you can carry into your day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Plus, use our links in the description to purchase this book. Your support helps us bring more engaging book discussions to you. Listen and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Who has time to read? You do, with Witter.
All right, welcome to Witter, where we bring you deep dives for busy minds.
That's right.
I'm your host, and with me as always is our resident expert. Today we're diving into a world of, well, it's kind of dark, isn't it? We're looking at power dynamics and manipulation, all thanks to The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene.
Yeah, this one was a request from a listener who's clearly on the fast track to understanding how the world really works. And Greene doesn't hold back, does he? It's a blueprint for anyone who wants to understand the less noble aspects of influence. But let's be clear. Our goal here isn't to turn anyone into a Machiavellian mastermind.
Right. We're not giving out villain starter kits here. What we're doing is unpacking these laws, kind of like dissecting them so we can understand the mechanics of power and hopefully learn how to navigate these dynamics in our own lives, whether it's at work, in relationships, or just understanding how the world around us ticks.
Exactly. It's about awareness.
Yeah.
And self-defense.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power, right?
For sure. All right. So let's kick things off with a concept that Greene really emphasizes. The interplay between deception and trust. Law 12, I think it's one of the most intriguing ones. It's all about using selective honesty and generosity as a weapon. Basically, using moments of genuine kindness to disarm suspicion and ultimately achieve your goals.
It's a fascinating psychological tactic. Think about it. We're naturally wired to trust people who seem sincere, especially if they surprise us with an act of generosity when we least expect it. So when someone does something genuinely nice for us, it lowers our guard, makes us more vulnerable to their influence.
It's like a Trojan horse for your agenda, the gift, the kind act. It's the wooden horse that gets wheeled right past our defenses.
Right, and once that trust is established, well, it becomes much easier to manipulate the situation to your advantage.
And Greene has this great example of this, the story of Count Lustig, the infamous con man, and Al Capone. Now, if you're unfamiliar, Al Capone, notorious gangster, right? Well, Lustig managed to pull off a pretty significant con on him, got away with a hefty sum of money.
Bold move,
yeah.
Right, going up against Capone. But then, here's the twist. Lustig, instead of just vanishing, he actually goes back to Capone and returns the money.
I know, right? Totally unexpected. He tells Capone that his scheme had failed and plays the whole "I'm a man of honor" card.
Brilliant move, really. Capone, completely caught off guard, is blown away. He reportedly said, "My God, you're honest." I mean, imagine that. Al Capone praising someone for their honesty.
And to really drive the point home, Capone, totally disarmed by this display of, well, let's call it selective honesty, actually gives Lustig an extra $5,000, like a tip for being so virtuous.
Which just goes to show how powerful this tactic can be. We tend to judge people based on their actions, especially the unexpected ones.
Yeah.
A well-placed act of apparent generosity can completely shift someone's perception of you.
It makes you wonder how often we're completely misjudging situations based on surface appearances. It's a sobering thought, right? Which leads us nicely into Law 3. Conceal your intentions.
This one's all about strategic ambiguity. While honesty might seem like a good thing in most contexts, in the game of power, it can actually make you predictable. And predictability is a weakness. It allows others to anticipate your moves and counter them.
So it's kind of like poker, right? You don't want to show your hand too early.
Exactly. Greene argues that it's often more beneficial to keep your true motives hidden, to be a bit of a chameleon. This way, you keep people guessing. It gives you a significant advantage.
And Greene uses Bismarck, the Prussian statesman, as a prime example of this. He was known for deliberately supporting ideas that were completely contrary to his actual goals, just to throw people off balance.
Yeah, Bismarck was a master of using red herrings. These seemingly conflicting stances would create confusion amongst his opponents, making it incredibly difficult for them to predict his next move. They'd be busy trying to figure out what he was really up to, while he was already 10 steps ahead playing his own game.
It makes you think, right? How often do we reveal too much of our hand, whether it's in negotiations or just in everyday interactions? Maybe a little bit of strategic mystery wouldn't hurt.
So we've talked about deception and concealing intentions. Now let's move on to building and maintaining influence. This is where Law 13 comes in. And it's a bit of a tough pill to swallow. Greene states that when seeking assistance, you should always appeal to someone's self-interest, not their mercy or gratitude. Basically, he's saying that playing on someone's emotions is less effective than showing them how they stand to gain something.
It's a pretty cynical view of human nature, isn't it? But also kind of true when you think about it. We're all driven by our own needs and desires, even if we don't like to admit it.
Right. And Greene isn't suggesting that we should be heartless or manipulative, but he's acknowledging a fundamental truth. People are more likely to help you if they see a clear benefit for themselves. It's not about being ruthless. It's about understanding what motivates people.
And the perfect example of this in action is Galileo's approach to securing patronage from Cosimo's second de' Medici. He could have just appealed to Cosimo's love of science, right? But he went a step further. He cleverly linked his discovery of Jupiter's moons directly to the Medici family. He created an emblem that essentially connected Cosimo II to the cosmos.
It was a brilliant move. By framing his discovery in a way that flattered Cosimo's ego and enhanced his prestige, Galileo secured a prestigious position as court philosopher with a nice salary to boot.
It shows the power of understanding your audience and framing your requests in a way that appeals to their self-interest. Now, once you've set your sights on a goal, Law 28 comes into play. And this one is all about taking bold action. Greene argues that hesitation breeds doubt and ultimately weakens your execution. He says mistakes made with audacity are often easier to correct than those made with timidity. And there's something inherently captivating about boldness, isn't there?
It's true. Boldness projects confidence. And confidence is contagious. People are naturally drawn to those who seem to know what they're doing and who aren't afraid to take risks.
It's the fake it till you make it principle applied to power dynamics. Think of someone like Vasco Núñez de Balboa. He was an outlaw when he made the audacious proposal to cross the treacherous jungle of Panama to reach the Pacific Ocean and build an armada. I mean, talk about a risky move.
Right, he was literally risking his life. But that boldness, that unwavering belief in his vision, it's what ultimately allowed him to achieve his goal. It's a powerful example of how taking that leap of faith, even when the odds are stacked against you, can sometimes be the only way to achieve something truly remarkable.
Building on this theme of influence, Law 43 takes a deep dive into the hearts and minds of others. Greene argues that coercion might yield temporary compliance, but it breeds resentment. True influence, he says, is about seduction, about getting people to want what you want. And to achieve that, you need to understand their motivations, their fears, their desires.
This law dives into the psychology of persuasion. It's about appealing to emotions rather than logic. It's about tailoring your message to resonate with the individual you're trying to influence. It's certainly a more subtle approach to power, but it can be incredibly effective.
A historical figure who embodies this principle, albeit through rather ruthless means, is Empress Wu of China. She was known for eliminating rivals to consolidate her power. But it wasn't just brute force. She was a master of understanding the motivations of those around her and using that knowledge to her advantage.
Right. She was incredibly strategic in her use of both fear and rewards to maintain control. She knew how to play the game, and she played it well. And the fact that she managed to rule for so long in a society that was heavily patriarchal speaks volumes about her mastery of this principle.
Speaking of strategy, Law 33 is all about mastering the art of timing. Greene emphasizes the importance of patience, of recognizing the opportune moment to act and the self-discipline to wait for it. Why do you think timing is so crucial in this context?
It's all about maximizing your impact. Acting too early, or too late, can significantly diminish the effectiveness of your actions. It's like a surfer waiting for the perfect wave. They need to read the ocean, understand the currents, and know when to paddle to catch that wave at just the right moment.
So patience isn't just a virtue, it's a strategic advantage.
Exactly. And it's a skill that can be cultivated. It's about developing the awareness to recognize those critical moments of opportunity and the discipline to act decisively when they arise.
And then there's Law 1, which offers some counterintuitive advice. Never outshine the master. Greene argues that making those above you feel comfortably superior is essential for your own advancement. It seems almost self-sabotaging, doesn't it? Why would you deliberately downplay your talents?
It's about understanding the dynamics of ego. In any hierarchy, there's always a delicate balance of power. And if you make your superiors feel threatened, even unintentionally, it can backfire spectacularly. It's not about being subservient, it's about being strategic in how you present your abilities.
Colbert, the French statesman who served Louis XIV, was a master of this. He deliberately channeled resources and opportunities to the king, making sure that Louis always appeared to be the most brilliant and powerful figure in the court.
Yeah, Colbert understood that his own success was inextricably linked to the king's glory. By bolstering Louis XIV's image, he was essentially bolstering his own position. It's a subtle but effective way of wielding power indirectly.
Now let's talk about relationships. Law 2 delves into the complexities of trust and betrayal, particularly in the context of power. Greene cautions against placing too much trust in friends, arguing that they can easily become envious or complacent. And he even suggests that enemies in certain circumstances can be more reliable.
It's a harsh truth, but one that's often borne out in history. Think of all the times close confidants have turned against their leaders, driven by ambition or a sense of betrayal. Enemies, on the other hand, have a vested interest in proving their loyalty and usefulness. They have more to gain by siding with you.
Emperor Sung of China understood this well. He showered his generals with wealth and land, but he kept them at arm's length. He rewarded their loyalty, but he never truly befriended them. Why do you think he took this approach?
It was a calculated move to prevent potential uprisings.
Yeah.
By maintaining a certain distance, he prevented any one general from becoming too powerful or influential. It was a strategy of controlled loyalty, designed to ensure stability and minimize the risk of betrayal.
Finally, let's touch on the importance of reputation and attention. Law 5 emphasizes the paramount importance of guarding your reputation. It's the foundation of your power, Greene argues, and once it's tarnished, it's incredibly difficult to restore.
Your reputation is essentially your brand. It's what people think of when they hear your name. And in a world where perception is often reality, a strong reputation can open doors and create opportunities. But a damaged reputation can be incredibly difficult to overcome.
On the other hand, Law 6 encourages us to court attention at all cost, to avoid fading into obscurity. It seems like a contradiction, doesn't it? Protect your reputation, but also seek attention, even if it's negative.
It's about finding the right balance. P.T. Barnum, the legendary showman, was a master of this. He used controversy and spectacle to generate buzz, even if it meant pushing the boundaries of good taste. He understood that any publicity is good publicity as long as people are talking about you.
And then there's Law 18, which explores the double-edged sword of isolation. It can offer protection, but it can also cut you off from vital information and make you an easier target. Greene suggests that it's generally more beneficial to circulate, to build alliances, and to stay connected.
Isolation can breed paranoia and stagnation. It's important to stay engaged, to build relationships, and to be aware of what's happening around you, even if it means exposing yourself to some degree of risk.
Louis XIV's construction of the Palace of Versailles is a perfect example of this. It was a symbol of his power, but it also served as a way to keep the nobility close, under his watchful eye.
Exactly. By bringing the nobility to Versailles, he prevented them from forming their own power bases in their distant estates. It was a clever way to consolidate his control and minimize the risk of rebellion.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the 48 laws of power, it's worth reflecting on how these principles play out in our own lives. Have you ever witnessed selective honesty being used to manipulate a situation, or seen someone expertly appeal to another person's self-interest to get what they want?
These laws aren't just abstract concepts. They're reflections of human behavior, of the often unspoken rules that govern how we interact with each other. And understanding these dynamics can be incredibly empowering. It allows us to navigate the complexities of power with greater awareness and skill.
Whether you choose to use these laws to your advantage or simply to protect yourself from those who might use them against you, the knowledge itself is invaluable, and it's a journey of ongoing exploration.
So keep those eyes open. The game is always on.
Thanks for joining us on another deep dive.
Until next time.
Stay curious and stay sharp.
Thanks for listening to Witter, Who Has Time to Read, produced by One Media. Please support the author by purchasing the book or audiobook using the link in the description. It's a great way to help keep the art of writing alive. And stay in the loop. Subscribe to our newsletter for updates on weekly deep dives. And don't forget to share your thoughts or suggest our next deep dive at witterpodcast@gmail.com.